Is it live yet? Okay, yeah, it's on. Alrighty, it's that time to get into a world of conversation as we love to do on Smooth 98.1, your love music, love live station. Love to say love conversation as well. It's a Tuesday morning, a terrific Tuesday morning, second day in the working week. Hope it's been a great start to your Tuesday. I mean, it has to have been because you've been tuned to Smooth 98.1 up until this point. Ayokunmi Kekireako here with you to take you into the world of conversation. This is Lagos Talks, where we get to have discussions about anything and everything as well. We get to have a back and forth. We get to share thoughts, opinions, and we love to hear from you. And today is not going to be any different whatsoever. So please send those messages in to us. Give us a call. Let's hear what you have to say. The WhatsApp number is 0809 444 0981. 0809 is the WhatsApp number. The studio line is 0201 4489981. We're also streaming on YouTube. You can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos, Smooth 981 FM Lagos, or just go to your browser, youtube.com/ Smooth 981 FM Lagos. You can catch a live stream there, and also drop your comments. We love to hear from you. So, this morning, what we'll be talking about, it's something very crucial. It has to do with the small and medium scale enterprises, the SMEs in Nigeria, and their access to financing. Now, SMEs are the backbone of Nigeria's economy, contributing nearly 50% of the country's GDP and employing over 80% of the workforce. So you cannot push the SMEs to one side at all. Now, despite all this, one of their biggest challenges remains access to capital, which has hindered growth and economic expansion as well. Now, we're having this conversation basically because, in response to that, the federal government has introduced a new SME loan initiative in collaboration with the First City Monument Bank, that's FCMB. Now, the goal is to simplify the process of obtaining loans and to provide very much needed financial relief to business owners. If you are a business owner or you know someone who is a small business owner, one of the things they'll tell you is getting capital, getting money to run this and run that, and so on and so forth. Anyways, to help us to break this all down and to explore how financial accessibility can drive Nigeria's economic growth, I have with me in the studio my very special guest in the person of Ololade Adesola. She is the CEO of Growth Boosters, an organization that is focused on empowering SMEs through business development and financial advisory services as well. Very good morning to you,
Good
Ololade.
morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure to have a thought leader on these matters in the studio to discuss this. Very important we have these conversations because, like I mentioned, for SMEs, getting financing, getting loans, getting money in is a very, very big deal for them. And there has to be a way that this problem can actually be solved. And looking at what the federal government is doing here, it's actually commendable, and this is why we are actually bringing it to the fore. So let me start by asking this question right off the bat. In your experience, or from your perspective, if financing were made more accessible, what kind of ripple effect do you think it would have on the economy as a whole?
Definitely, financing is key. It's the backbone for any business, and if SMEs are empowered, the SMEs will increase their productivity. They will increase the people they employ,
True.
And then from there there'll be more money, both in terms of corporate income tax, personal income tax, in terms of different types of taxes. There'll be greater productivity, and definitely it will add to the GDP. It will add to individual pockets. It will add to removal of reduction of
Poverty,
poverty.
right.
The ripple effect is, it just goes on and on and on.
Mm. And those things you mentioned are things that Nigeria is seriously
Grappling
grappling with
with at this time.
at this point in time. The cost of living is high, the poverty levels are high, People can't afford basic things anymore. It just seems to be some sort of a rat race on a daily. And just thinking about the the benefits of easy access to financing across the board, not just for the SMEs, but for the country in general, the economy and all that. It is something to actually think about going forward. Now, when we talk about SME financing, it's not just about giving businesses money, it's also about unlocking growth. Most definitely. Now, when small businesses have the funds they need, they can expand, they can hire more people, which means more people have jobs. There's a reduction in unemployment, and that creates a ripple effect definitely in the economy. Now, with this particular initiative in question that has brought us into the studio for this conversation, do you think we're finally on the right track? And what stands out to you as a real game changer compared to other financing programs from the past? We've had different ones over the last couple of years in Nigeria.
Well, it just makes it's just another one in which people now have additional avenue to raise money. And I must
Mm,
commend the federal government. There's so many things they're doing. In addition to what Bank of Industry is doing, you have what the central bank is doing, and the Securities Exchange Commission has also come up with crowdfunding, which
right.
is a way in which businesses can come and directly access money from the public. The same way in which GT Bank comes to the market to raise money directly from the public. In the same way in which Cadbury will come to the market to raise money for commercial paper directly from the public. Smaller businesses now have access through the crowdfunding platforms to access money directly from the public. So that people can now fund them directly. So in addition to the ones you get from banks, in addition with the different initiatives, you don't even have to go to the bank anymore. You can come to a crowdfunding platform and raise money directly from the public. So there's so many initiatives that the federal government is doing at this time to support the ability of MSMEs to raise capital.
It's interesting you mentioned that because just out of curiosity, has there ever been an issue where all these sort of initiatives are not made aware to all these SMEs? Because one thing in Nigeria is sometimes if you don't know someone who knows, you just might not get access to something. So this is something that should be made completely public. Everyone should be aware of this. Have we ever had issues where these sort of initiatives are not, should I say, publicized to those who actually need them?
It's that's very correct. Many of these initiatives are not that popular, but again, it's because there's also a limit to the amount of funds. This
Mm,
initiative from FCMB, through FCMB, there's a limit to the amount of funds. The ones that CBN is doing, there's a limit to the amount of funds. But with crowdfunding, it's almost limitless. We read recently that Zenith Bank, Access, and some other banks returned billions of naira because they were oversubscribed for the fund capital that raising that they did.
right.
Right. So that means that there's money in the economy. Small investors are look that have been prudent and have saved a little here and there are looking for some safe places to put their money. So the money is there. So the government may not really have to be the one that is looking for the funds to finance the business owners. If they're able to just say, look, go directly to the public and let the public fund you, the same way in which they fund commercial papers, the same way in which they fund equity raising, then they can get money from all the various sources and go directly to the public, which is what crowdfunding is all about.
Mm, okay. Now, looking at these sort of initiatives and other things in Nigeria, when maybe the government comes out and says, "Oh, there's this particular scheme, there's this particular initiative to deal with this particular issue," we always have the traditional bottlenecks, the bureaucracy, the red tape, all the hoops that one needs to jump over or through or on whatever it is. You just need this. There tends to be a lot of stress. Now, could this be why there's this partnership with FCMB to probably simplify the loan process and remove some of the bottlenecks? Because I mean, we've seen programs like this before that did not quite deliver as expected. Now, in practical terms, how can we ensure that this current one that we have right now doesn't just look good on paper, that it actually does the work for the SMEs that are on the ground?
It's two ways. First of all, the partner, the bank that is pushing it, has to make sure that it's simplified, it's publicized, and all that. And then the MSMs themselves have to be prepared. Many times they're not prepared for the requirements that they make of them. They don't have that kind of documentation. So it makes it more difficult, because in the long run, even if no matter the amount of money that has been put in the scheme, the bank, the BOI is going to hold FCMB liable. So FCMB is going to protect their shareholders' funds. So they're not just going to say, because this money has been given to MSMEs, I'm just going to give it to any MSME that works in. So they're going to ensure, because they're going to hold them liable. BOI is going to come and ask FCMB, give me my money back. They're not going to say, oh, because you gave it to somebody, you cannot return the money.
Right.
So because of that, FCMB is going to be extra careful. So that's why there are different layers of loans for different categories of people. So with crowdfunding, if for instance, I bring a restaurant that everybody knows in the neighborhood. They all know, they love the restaurant, they use the restaurant, they trust the restaurant owner. If that restaurant owner comes on board and says, I want to raise money, I'm not tired of buying diesel and generator. I want to do solar power. I want to put in inverters, solar panels, buy an inverter, buy batteries. The people in the neighborhood who have been going to that restaurant will say, okay, you want to raise 10 million. Okay, 50 of us, that a crowd of us, would contribute towards this, so, and they would raise that money through the registered crowdfunding platforms on behalf of that restaurant, and they would pay back because they trust the restaurant, they use the restaurant, they know the restaurant. So it's like I said, it's different layers of availability of cash, everything towards driving the economy, everything towards making MSMEs have more funds available, but different layers, different categories to make things easy for them.
Okay, I just want to dial back a bit here. You mentioned that some of these SMEs and co are not prepared, for the requirements that the banks might ask of them. Now, isn't this something that they should be made aware of beforehand, or is it when the particular scheme or initiative comes up that there's a list of requirements? How does it generally tend to work that the SMEs are not prepared when they come up with these initiatives?
The thing about it is that some of the simple corporate governance things are the things that people should have put in their businesses. If you, as an MSME, there's no difference between your business account and your personal account.
Okay.
Or you are just jumbling all the money. You're bootstrapping. We all understand that everybody's bootstrapping, but there should still be a clear distinction between your funds and the business fund, so that we can know what is going in. You don't have records. You say, oh, I sell 1 million every quarter. Show me.
Where's the paper?
As soon as I collect the cash, I go and use it to buy raw materials. It doesn't work that way. Let it pass through your account so that we can actually see on record that this 1 million came in and then you subsequently used it for. So, but if you don't have that kind of data, the bank is not going to believe hearsay. They want to see it. So that's why they will not say, okay, run your business for 6 months. But if you don't have a banking habit, you'll still collect your money and use it directly for payments. You will not pass it through your account. So those are the kind of things that many times MSMEs say they are not, they don't benefit from this, because banks deal with records. The person that is going to approve your loan is sitting somewhere in Tinubu for FCMB. So if you're in Fadeyi, or you're in Ikeja, or you're in Kano, the man is not going to believe that you sold the 1 million. The man in Kano may believe that you actually did the 1 million because he knows you one-on-one.
Right.
But the man in Lagos does not know you, so he has to see.
He will work based on what he can see on the computer right in front of him.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, let's take our first break this morning on Lagos Talk. So we come back in, we'll continue the conversation. We're looking at unlocking SME potential and easier loan access to drive Nigeria's economic growth. Economic growth is something that we are really, really fighting for as a nation. We need it to get to El Dorado, if there is El Dorado. Anyways, we'll be back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. 98.1.
Love music.
Okay. Progress. So concerning this issue that you mentioned, because I've actually heard about some businesses where the whole money doesn't go through the necessary banking. Is it because of our anyhowness as a country, or is it that regulations are not stringent enough?
No, it's your money. You can do it any way you like. But when you now want to come and take somebody else's money, the person has to just verify that what you're saying is correct. But if I mean, as long as you continue to spend your money, you can do it any way you like. But if you're now saying, "BOI, put your money in it," BOI is going to want to see that this is what I'm putting my money in, not on hearsay.
So it's always advisable that a business, no matter how small it is, you should have a banking habit.
Yeah.
Even for maybe, I don't know.
Even if you want a grant that you're not going to pay back, the grant people will still want to see that you're going to use the money well.
Hmm.
So if you're taking a grant from your government, they're giving you maybe they do training for you, then they now give you 100,000 and things to make to be a hairdresser.
Right,
They're going
right,
to want
right.
to come back in 2 years' time and take a photograph of you in your salon that you used
Mm.
their 100,000 well, even though they're not expecting you to pay back. They're going to want to you to demonstrate it. But if you don't have any records, you don't have anything, how are they going to justify it?
That is such a Nigerian thing. Take the money, you say, take the money. Yeah, go and pay for this or go and buy that. That is just Niger. All right, welcome back into Lagos Talks on the Smooth Breakfast this beautiful Tuesday morning. This is Smooth 98.1, your love music, love life station. Ayokunmi here with you. Alongside me is my very special guest in the person of Ololade Adesola. She's the CEO of Growth Boosters. We're looking at unlocking SME potential and looking at easier loan access to drive Nigeria's economic growth. We've been having such a great conversation this morning. She's been cluing us into this particular discussion we've been having. It's off the back of a new initiative that is on the horizon right here. You can join us this morning. Send your thoughts into us on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981. 0809 That is the WhatsApp number. You can also give us a call on the studio line, which is 0201 4489981. 0201 4489981. We're also on YouTube. We're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Okay, Claudine, thank you for joining me once again. It's been a pleasure having you thus far in the studio talking about this. I know SMEs definitely need this sort of information because, as we've established already, financing is probably number one. If you're making a top 10 list of what are my issues in starting this small or medium scale business, financing usually more often comes up, at the top of the list. Now we've talked about some of the issues that the SMEs could face in terms of accessing these sort of loans or initiatives. But I mean, what other advice would you give them to improve their chances of making the cut? You talked about documentation in terms of them not
Record
being
keeping.
record keeping, uh, being properly banked, showing their banking records and all that. But what other things could they be doing that could probably harm their chances of getting these loans or getting into these particular initiatives?
The key thing, apart from demonstrating that you have a banking habit and keeping good records, is you yourself. Because
Mm.
there's something in banking that they call ability to repay and willingness to repay. They're two different things.
Ah.
So if somebody has the ability to pay and doesn't have the willingness to repay, then you're still not going to get your money. So that's what the bank is going to be looking at. What kind of lifestyle do you live? How do you portray yourself? What have you been giving bounce checks in the days when we used to give out checks? Do
Mm.
you do things that are you trustworthy? Because when bankers are appraising loans, they have something that we call 5 C's, and the number one C is character.
Huh.
So it's also you can have the best proposal and do everything. If they don't think that their money will come back, they will not give it to you. They may be wrong. I mean, they're not God; they cannot see into your heart. But
Mm.
it's the picture you're painting. It's the
Right,
perspective that they're
right,
getting from
right,
you.
right.
So it's what coming into your shop and seeing what the kind of things that you do, the safety of their money. You sit in the house and it's your shop assistants that are is one shop assistant that goes to buy your inventory, comes in and records it in the books, sells it and takes the money to the bank while you're strolling at 2 o'clock, and then leave at 3 o'clock. They might as well lend money to your shop assistant and not to you, because you are not uh, um, you're not in charge of that business.
You're not on the ball.
Yes, you're not. So those are the things that they look at. So it's not just the figures. It's certainly not just the figures.
Huh. 5 C's and character being the first one. I wouldn't have known that. That's why you speak to people who are in the know, really. So if you're an SME, if you're a business owner, you really need to rethink your habits in terms of what you do. Character, very, very important. Not just, oh, you keep your books properly and all that. What are the things you're doing on
In
the
this
outside?
social media, what kind of pictures are we seeing of you on social media? Because nowadays they're looking at all that. What are you posting on social media? What are your priorities? What kind of things do you support? And things like that. What are your comments? Those are the things that help them to form their
So
decision.
there's so much that goes into
Appraisal of a loan.
the oh wow. Huh. Okay. Let's keep this moving right now. And let's talk about the Bank of Industry. They've been a key player in SME financing for years. But many small businesses, tend to struggle to get loans from them for various reasons. Now, some say the application process is too strict. Now, others feel it's not designed with the realities of micro businesses in mind. Now, that being said, do you think institutions like the BOI need to rethink their approach? And how can they make the funding processes, maybe a little bit more SME friendly?
Really, I think we just need to look at business model. I mean, a bank of industry is a bank of industry. It's not made for the smaller businesses. It really
Mm,
isn't. And though they have a maximum amount of money, that maybe they have now said, okay, we don't have the competencies to deal at that micro level. So they have now handed over that responsibility to a commercial bank that they believe has the skills, which is the same way in which, like I said, there are different layers of financing. So you're not, for instance, in the days when we separated merchant banks from commercial banks, you're not going to walk into a merchant bank and say, I want to raise money. I want a loan. They do not deal with your kind of people.
mm,
So they're different. There are microfinance banks for the people that want 100,000, 200,000. There's the big banks for people who want billions of money. So there are different layers of, which is where the crowdfunding again comes in, which where there are different layers. You can come into a crowdfunding platform, put up your proposal, and let the Nigerians who are registered on that platform invest in your business in the same way in which they invest in a commercial paper or they invest in shares on the stock exchange. You have that available. And the thing about that is that you get instant visibility. If you
true.
go into a commercial bank and you say, I want a loan of 20 million, it's only you, your account officer, and your branch manager that know you. But if, on the other hand, you go to a crowdfunding platform to raise that 20 million, and you have 100 people who have contributed that 20 million to you, those you are in the thinking of those 100 people.
Mm,
They know you. They become they start using they want you to succeed, so they'll probably be giving you free adverts. They start using your
right,
products. There's
right, right.
increased brand
Visibility,
visibility.
yeah.
So while the Bank of Industry may be doing what they're doing and they're trying to democratize it by providing money for MSMEs, I really don't think it's their place to focus on the smaller businesses. There are different levels. They should focus on the Dangote sugars and the Nigeria people that are all
The
these
larger corporations.
larger local corporations.
Ah, okay. Let's
Certainly
be
not
let's
not
be specific. Let's be specific.
not the Cadbury's and the Unilevers, no, but the larger brewers and all those Nigerians that are in
Mm,
industry. But then again, they will now cascade it down different categories of people. For instance, in crowdfunding platform, you can raise up to 100 million, depending on the size of your
huh.
company. You can raise as much as that. So depending on what it is, and different the entry requirements are not as stringent in crowdfunding, and you can just go up to a portal, register. SEC has registered very strict registration process and license a few crowdfunding platforms, and you can go there, register there, and be able to raise your money and get it out. And the thing, another thing that makes crowdfunding different, that you're the one that determines your interest rate. Crowdfunding,
Really?
yeah, because you're the one that, like when you go to Zenith Bank and say, I want to buy shares, they're the one that say, this is the dividend I'm paying you. You're not the one that says,
That is
I
true.
want 10 naira dividend. They'll say, I'm paying you, this is what so in the same way, you come there, you say, okay, this is what I'm paying to the people that are raising the money. If they want it, they will buy it. If they don't want it, they will not buy it. So that's how it's just essentially like that, a public market coming directly to the public to raise money. And we have seen that there's a lot of money, billions were returned by Access, by Zenith, and I think it was Fidelity Bank. I can't remember the bank that returned. They were oversubscribed. So there's money in the economy. The retail investor has money. So you go to the bank and you be queuing and so on. Why not go this way and raise your money
Mm.
from through crowdfunding?
Interesting thoughts there. I mean, as they say, there's more than one way to get into the markets.
Yeah.
It's not just going in this particular direction. Now, looking beyond just financing, SMEs don't just need money. Yes, they need money, of course, but they also need, very importantly, the right environment to succeed. We've been
Certainly.
talking about Nigeria not having a friendly environment for business and all that. Now, yes, we know access to capital is great. It's wonderful having money in your hand. You can do a lot of things with it. But if businesses don't have the necessary infrastructure, the market linkages, government support, growth is still difficult any way you look at it. Now, if we want to build a thriving SME sector, what other elements do we need to get right besides just financing? Because that's just one part of the equation here.
Certainly, in terms of the, like you said, infrastructure, the roads, the electricity, the just the cooperation of local, especially local
The
governments,
policies,
policies to align multiple taxations
mm,
are also issues
big problem.
that MSMEs face. But one of the things that we can get now, for instance, is with the issue of electricity, you can actually use finance to solve that. I know one or two, maybe even up to a handful of MSMEs that have even gone off the national grid. They have invested in green energy,
Mm.
and they have decided, okay, I have enough energy for my needs. I don't even need to be on the national grid. So even if NERC decides to increase the electricity tariff
It doesn't concern
it
them.
doesn't concern them. So all that's what they do. So there are a lot of ways in which people are trying to, while we're hoping for the best, but you say hope is not a business strategy.
I've heard that a number of times.
So you cannot keep hoping for the government to do what they're supposed to do. You need to take the bull by the horn and solve it yourself by providing alternative um, um, means for yourself.
Doesn't this make life a whole lot more difficult for businesses, not just the small businesses, the bigger corporations as well? Because we know that power is one of the biggest issues when it comes to business. I've heard different people come into the studio and say, once the issue of power is solved, a big problem is solved. And people having to figure out, oh, I have to find power from elsewhere and so on and so forth. But if they invest in green energy as opposed to, I have a generator, I'm buying diesel and all that, in the long run, you feel that's a whole less expensive for them.
Definitely in the long run, it's much less expensive because all you have to do is clean your solar panels, confirm that your batteries, and then the batteries one at a time, they may need replacement, but maybe after 4 or 5 years, as long as you have the right capacity and you don't overload them, and you use them and you use it properly. So definitely in the long run, there's peace. And then it's even the consistency of the electricity that makes green energy so much better. The fact that you don't have to worry about buying diesel, buying this, buying that,
Mm.
and you don't have to worry that there's electric supply today and there's no electric supply in the afternoon and there is in the morning. So the fact that the solar, I mean, if people in countries like Norway where they have there's some days in the year that they don't have electricity for 3 4 days. They don't have the sun for 3 4 days. Can use solar power.
Mm.
Then why can't we use solar power as a means of? I've even heard of schools that are now thinking, look, the cost of running our school buses is so high, it's right to the sky. So we need to have electric
Vehicles.
vehicles, So and those charging them is they don't use as much energy as the regular electricity. They usually have a lower step down kind of converter that they use.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's those are things that people they really need to look at. I mean, we agree that government should do what they're supposed to do, but if they don't do it, we still life must go on. So
Hmm.
we cannot keep complaining that government should do this and government should do that. We agree 100%, and we're going to continue to push them and advocate that they do the right thing. But
Hmm.
in the meanwhile,
Life has to go on.
yes,
Indeed. All right, let's take another break. When we come back in, we'll continue the conversation. This morning, we're looking at SMEs and, of course, easier loan access. This should drive Nigeria's economic growth. That is what we're looking for. That's what we hope to achieve. Don't go anywhere. Nigeria is stressful.
will I be able to talk a little more about how crowdfunding works?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can actually, bring that in. In
Yeah.
fact, I think we can actually break that in. I'm going to ask you about success stories of SMEs, but I mean, you can do that without necessarily name dropping.
No, I won't drop
You know,
any.
so can
Yeah.
bring that in there. Everybody's going, everybody's going solar now. Everybody's going solar now
Yeah.
because the cost of electricity is ridiculous.
It really is.
It is ridiculous. Because when you calculate, okay, how much you spend in a month multiplied by a whole year, and you're like, I've spent this much on buying units. Ah, because we used to stay in a three bed apartment. We moved back to our main house now, and I know that in a month I would spend 80, 90, almost 100K on buying units. And this is added to the fact that I turn off the freezers during the day, put it back on, because
Imagine that.
it's just absolutely nuts, absolutely nuts having to do all those things. You're so military in your approach. Oh, these lights are on, put them off. This one freezer off from this time to this time, and still, still you have to buy it. It's so irregular. It's just ridiculous. And in most cases, there won't be any power.
Well,
That's the main part of it. Alrighty, welcome back into Lagos Talks on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. This is your love music, love life, and love conversation station. Ayokunmi Kekirekun here with you. Ololade Adesola is my guest. She's the CEO of Growth Boosters. We're talking SMEs this morning, people. So, all the business owners, the small business owners, the MSME owners as well. This is a conversation you need to actually jump on. We're looking at easier loan access. Yes, we know financing can be a hassle, it can be difficult to actually get your hands on, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what we're talking about this morning. You can send your messages, your thoughts, your experiences as well as a business owner. Has financing been a difficult thing for you? Have you tried to apply for any loans? If yes, how easy or how difficult was it for you to access those loans? And were there any headaches along the way? Any issues? We'd love to hear your thoughts and your experiences as well. So please do send those messages in to us on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981. You can also get a call in. The studio line is 0201 4489981. 0201 4489981. The live stream on YouTube is at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. That is on YouTube. Okay, let's talk about small business owners who tend to have this worry about taking loans because there's the issue of others struggling with repayment. We've also seen SMEs that have used financing wisely and grown into major brands. Now, I know that in the business sector, you are widely experienced. You've seen things. You've you've seen it all, if I can put it that way. Do you have any success stories of SMEs that started small but took advantage of any financing opportunities and scaled up in a big way? Those who took loans from microfinance bank, those who crowdfunded as well. Can you give us more insight into that?
Certainly, there are a lot of MSMEs that grew, especially those that are in food processing. Um, that start with making yam flour
Mm,
and making rice flour, and have grown and grown and grown, and then they become companies that the Bank of Industry is paying attention to. So
right.
there are many of them, especially in agro processing, that have scaled up like that, and um, that is the major one in which many are growing, and the market for their business is really growing nowadays. Very few people are even buying things like that, yam flour, gari, and even beans from open markets.
Mm,
Many of them are buying from supermarkets because many of these food processors have come in and made it
true.
and made it more hygienic, more better packaged, and easy to buy and store. So many of them have grown from in that level. For crowdfunding, since it is relatively new in Nigeria, we cannot say we have any success stories yet, but we do have a number of people who have taken money and done several cycles of crowdfunding, in which they would come in, raise money, maybe like a printer who buys a printing press,
Right.
to expand
His
his
business.
business, and then is able to pay back. Maybe the person makes um, um, exercise books, drawing books, graph books for schools,
Mm,
so is able to scale up his business and do and work and grow from there. So we have those kind of success stories for different kinds of business owners who have been able to raise money and do well. The key to people who struggle, it's on both sides, the side of the business owner as well as the financier who approved the loan.
mm,
Because for a financier to approve the loan, that means you didn't look at it very well. You should have been able to see that the person not only had the ability but the willingness
willingness.
to pay. So like for crowdfunding, since it's two sides of the story, we have the people who come and ask for who come for loans, and then we have the investors who are coming to fund, like in the case of the stock market or the money market that we described, like Zenith Bank or GT. They come to the stock market to raise money, and then the investing public also comes to the stock market
Mm,
to invest. So it's that's the way it works. So since the crowdfunding platform is not the one that gives the loan, it's strictly an intermediary. Just like the
okay.
stock market
Okay.
is strictly an intermediary, the crowdfunding platform is strictly an intermediary. So once they see a loan that is good, like the same way the stock exchange sees a project that is good, they'll put it up on the platform. Then investors who are registered there will come. They will view different kinds of businesses, choose the ones they want to invest in, and then the money is raised. And the good thing about it is that being an intermediary, the platform itself doesn't even handle the money. The
Ah,
money goes straight to fund custodians that have been approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission.
aha.
So
So
there's
everything
no
is legit across
legit.
board.
So if you come to a platform and say, I want to raise money, as the money is being debited from Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. D, it goes directly into an escrow account with the fund custodian.
Aha. So there's nobody that can do any hanky panky.
So when the money is complete, the fund custodian pays the person who wants to borrow. So that's how
Aha.
it works. And then when you now want to repay, the vice versa now it goes on.
Huh. I mean, it's interesting to see different approaches to things.
Yes.
Innovation. We can't just sit down and keep doing things in one particular way. We need to keep innovating and keep doing things differently. I mean, we're already doing that in providing our own power, our own water, and so on and so forth. Hey, why not carry on and do that where getting money for our businesses is concerned?
Yes.
Let me take a message here on WhatsApp from Cisco Delgado, and he says the federal government is coming for individuals, companies, and communities using alternative power aka solar power, soon. They want to introduce taxation on solar systems. Rough play. The truth is that solar energy can supply 80% electricity needs of Nigerian populace due to the level of the sun hours we have. Now, due to the exorbitant prices of imported lithium ion batteries, I need such loans because I want to start building BESS as battery energy storage systems for the Nigerian populace. Currently, all my battery storage at home were built by me using lithium iron phosphate cells. I have gotten in contact with the SOA, that's the Standard Organization of Nigeria, for my product, but I have difficulty accessing the loan. I have tried to get in touch with the BOI, Bank of Industry, for such loans. I don't know if my approach is wrong. Thank you for that question, Cisco Delgado. I think I already answered this question before. That the BOI is not for everybody, but can you address Cisco's
For
concerns
this
here?
kind of person, he may need to just go through the project, the program that has just been started through FCMD.
Hmm.
So he's not working directly with Bank of Industry. He'll be working with, using the Bank of Industry program that the commercial bank is working on. So if you go to your commercial bank or and ask them that you want the Bank of Industry facility, you should be able to get it.
Hmm. All right, Cisco, I hope you heard that, and I hope you're able to tap into that because what it is you're trying to do, commendable when you think about it. Okay, I think okay, thank you. You're very welcome, Cisco Delgado. Okay, let's begin to bring this plane to a land here. It's been quite a good conversation that we've had thus far, and honestly, looking at where we are in Nigeria right now, it is such. Let me say it's sad seeing the sort of potential that we have to do business, to be able to get foreign investment in, because we clamor for all that, but the environment not the best when you think about it. Now, before we wrap up the conversation, I'm just gonna put you on the hot seat here, if I may. Uh, if you could change just one thing about SME financing in Nigeria, whether it's policy, whether it's access, whether it's execution, what exactly would you make a change to?
I would change the MSMEs themselves. I would encourage them to actually learn about business management, because it's
Mm.
one thing for you to be a good tailor, but if you're unreliable, your business will not thrive.
Taylors, are you listening?
You know, if it's so I mean, if you're unreliable, your business will not thrive. So it's if for instance, let's talk about the agro processors
Right.
that I was talking about, and you have got a contract from a hotel, maybe to supply yam, or to a restaurant to supply yam flour, and you're supplying the yam flour, but then they now ask you for you to supply it, and they say sorry, I don't have in stock. You're not thinking about your supply chain. Your
Hmm.
supply chain management is not in place. So really, I believe that if we see banks chasing some people to come and take money. We see that in reality. What makes those people stand out? So we as business people, it's not enough to have the technical skills to do our business. We need to also have the business management skills, HR management, financial management, supply chain management. So I can't just say because I'm good. For instance, let me use Cisco's example. At building solar panels, I have the good engineering skills for that, but the supply management skills, the HR management skills, because I'm going to be
Hmm.
working through human beings, the financial management skills, all that must be in place. All it's a collective that makes us a good business person. So not only should we focus on our technical skills, we need to pay attention to our business management skills, and really, money will chase us. The few that have those skills actually have lenders chasing them.
Hmm. In a nutshell, follow excellence, money will chase you. In a nutshell, that is basically what it's all about. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, Ololade. Before we wrap up and call it a morning, for those who are listening, for the Cisco Delgados of this world, who would love to tap into your wealth of knowledge, because really, wealth of knowledge is putting it very mildly. Where can they find you on social media, DM you, LinkedIn, and so on and so forth, just to send you a message and reach out and all
Oh,
that?
okay, I'm on LinkedIn, Ololade Adesola, but we also have Growth Boosters. Our website is www.growthboosters.com. www.growthboosters.com.ng. Go
Right.
to www.growthboosters.com.ng. So whether you're a business owner who wants to raise money or an investor who wants to invest in this business, in good businesses, and make some extra passive income, you can find us at www.growthboosters.com.ng. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. It's been such an insightful conversation this morning, looking at SME financing and its role in economic growth. One big takeaway is that while financial support is essential, it is definitely not a magic fix. As Ololade said, we business owners need to work on their business management as well. It's not just one thing to have A in place. There's B, there's C, there's D, and so on. Everything comes together as a collective. So let's try to do better so that we can also let's try to know do better so we can actually do better. Thank you for being a part of Lagos Talks this beautiful Tuesday morning. Once again, thank you to Ololade Adesola for joining me. It's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
for having me.
And keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1 because the Smooth Breakfast will continue. It's a Tuesday, so terrific tunes are coming your way. Soulful music to get you settled into your Tuesday workday. Right here on Smooth 98.1. And it's a wrap.
Thank you. I hope it was good.
Oh, yes, it was.